Good evening, guys and gals. Phoenix here, back with another episode of All Talk Wrestling. We got our star-studded group with us today, Armand, Rain, and joining us today is Michael, who is one of the admins of Wrestling Fans Assemble. Sadly, Mike is not here with us at this time. I don't know what happened with that, but he'll be missed for this week. We'll always catch him next week, but I'm glad to have you guys here on this Saturday. As you guys know, the Royal Rumble starts tomorrow, and last week we did our predictions on who we believe would win the Royal Rumble. I selected Shinsuke Nakamura to win the Men's Royal Rumble with Braun Strowman as my potential dark horse. I selected Bianca Belair to win the Women's Royal Rumble with Naomi as my dark horse. Armand, you picked Daniel Bryan for the men's with Brock as the dark horse, and you picked Bianca Belair for the women's, and I believe it was Lacey Evans or Charlotte for the dark horse.
Yeah, Charlotte. Not even dark horse, just the other possibility.
Because it's Charlotte.
Right.
So, Rain, I know you weren't here with us last week, and I would definitely like to get your input on this since we have a day before the Royal Rumble starts. If you want to, in just a brief minute or two, give me a dark horse or a winner for the Royal Rumble men and women's side, and why do you believe that they will win?
Men's, I'm going with Shinsuke Nakamura. I just got a feeling they're trying to right the wrong that they did in 17. They should have put the belt on them. Women's, I'm going with Alexa Bliss. I think that everything going on with her and Orton, everything, something's going to add up to that. I think she's going to win. Dark horse for the men's, I would probably not dark horse, but he's one of the front runners. I say Daniel Bryan. And for the women's, I want to say Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley is a good choice. She really would. Imagine a Rhea Ripley versus Asuka match. And Michael, I'm going to go ahead and turn that same question to you. Dark horse on who do you think is going to win the men's Royal Rumble, or who do you have winning the men's Royal Rumble? Your dark horse plus the women's Royal Rumble and dark horse there, and why?
For the men, I was going with Big E. It seems like his momentum's starting to slack. I guess because of the whole Sammy and Cruz thing. But I think he still might be able to pull it out if Cruz teams up with Roman and they screw him out of the Intercontinental, and then he wins the Royal Rumble to go on the face reign at Mania. For a dark horse, I said Daniel Bryan. He's gotten the momentum, even with his losses. He's still piling on through. For the women, Belair, she's just on a roll, For dark horse for the women, I'm gonna go Rhea Ripley too.
So
same thing.
Got your men's winner as I just want to make sure I got this correct. You got the men's winner as
Big
E, men's winner, and women's winner was Bianca Belair with Ripley as the dark horse and with Daniel Bryan as a potential dark horse as well. Not bad at all. I know Mike gave a very, very interesting answer as to who he thought was going to win. If you guys seen the video, Mike believes that John Cena will win the Men's Royal Rumble this year, which would be an indication that Goldberg would beat Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. His reasoning made sense, even though none of us wants to see it. Goldberg versus John Cena would be a thing that sells WrestleMania just because it's the name John Cena, it's the name Goldberg. They're going to have somewhat of a live crowd there, so you want to give them something. And I guess the name of John Cena and Goldberg would sell. And to make it worse, there was news that was coming out saying that John Cena is all but certain for WrestleMania this year. So that alone made me feel like, his prediction may come true, and we'll know more of that. Like I already said, if the WWE Championship match happens before the Royal Rumble and Goldberg wins, I already know John Cena's winning the Royal Rumble. Off rip.
Yeah.
All right.
I can see Goldberg taking it because that's the only title in WWE world title wise he hasn't won.
But I agree with Armand's point that he made is that you don't want to have an opportunity to build on Drew McIntyre's championship reign and then you take away. But then again, The Fiend and Kevin Owens were both victims of the same thing. So, like, anything is possible in WWE, including the possibly worst things ever. So, now I got to take
when
away.
you're hot, Vince takes you off.
Ask Rusev about that. Okay, so recapping a couple things. Number one, recapping on Monday Night Raw. The show, again, was ass butter. I really wasn't too much of a fan of it, but, I mean, I guess it is what it is. I don't know who it was, but I asked, do we even need to watch the main event of Monday Night Raw? Because we already know Randy Orton's going to screw Alexa Bliss out of the championship. Mike, I think me and you were having that conversation in the group. I just knew what it was. Like, there's no way they're going to put the women's title on Bliss a week before the
Not
Raw.
on a Monday night, and not on a Monday night. When's the last time we got an actual legit champion on a Monday night show?
When's the last time we got an actual legit Monday Night Raw?
You know, I asked this question a couple times in the group. Nobody really can give me an answer. So Raw, we all agree, is like probably the least entertaining wrestling show altogether.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Of 2020. But it got the highest rating show of 2020 with like a 2 point something, the highest one. But NXT and AEW have the lowest ratings, but they're the best shows. Why? What are they doing?
Because I think it's just the familiarity. Yeah, it's Monday night. You know what you're going to watch.
Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like, most of the people that view wrestling are like wrestling savants like us. They're people who have been watching it since the time that they were young. They were entrenched in the Monday Night Wars at the time WCW and WWE was going out. They're familiar with the faces and the brand of Monday Night Raw. So it's easier to know what you're getting there. And I guess it's like that gamble of, well, maybe this week will be different. Like, viewership, even though it's the highest, it dips almost on a weekly basis, especially after the first hour. Like, once they get to the first hour, it's up to 2.7 million views, and by the end of the second hour, it's down to 1.4 million views or something like that. Like, it takes heavy dives as the night goes on, to the point where it's like nobody cares about the main event. I think what Raw should start doing, because the viewership gets so bad afterward, they need to start having marquee matches and marquee segments at the beginning of the show. The reason
they've been doing that.
Yeah,
they've done that.
The reason being is because, like, okay, WWE Championship, Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre. I'm not about to sit through every goddamn segment of the day just to get to Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, because I'm going to get turned off by everything that I'm seeing. So, like, if you give us that blend where, oh, okay, randomly third match on the card, we're getting the WWE Championship match, okay. Like, yeah, it may make you care less about the end of the show, but you're maintaining that viewership throughout the middle.
At the same time, they're registered to keep the title in the main event picture because it is the title. They don't want something following that. But even at the same time, people were programmed to think, all right, it's Monday Night Raw. Last week was crap. Why would they put the belt on Keith Lee in a random episode of Monday Night Raw?
Good point.
Or aren't even going to stay up to watch it.
Yeah.
I was a promoter at one time, so when I was getting ready for the, I guess you could say the legends and whatever, telling us how to build a show, exactly how you said, Fulton, is the way they told us to build it. You put a high-profile match in the beginning, you put like a profile match in the middle, and then you have the main event. And they're all three need to be main event caliber matches. And it seems like Raw just,
and I think
sometimes they don't do it.
I think that's where Raw just gets away with it, though. They can do that because you have an AJ Styles on your roster, because you have a Drew McIntyre and a Keith Lee on your roster. The main event doesn't have to be sensational because you know you're going to get the phenomenal one in the middle of the show. And I said that in the first talk we did. Like you know you're going to get out of this because you have those guys. It's almost laziness, like, and I think that's also why Raw continues to be the highest rated. You have all the people you really, really want to watch.
Yeah, he moves all the high-profile people to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly,
it's always
with
been
that,
like that.
And with that like mentality, that makes me feel less and less sure that Drew McIntyre is going to retain the WWE Championship come Royal Rumble. Main reason being is because
the closest thing you can do is put that belt on Goldberg. As much as I'm the biggest Goldberg fan as a child, the adult me is like, this has to end.
It's going to happen. Like, unfortunately, I don't want it to happen. Nobody in this room probably wants it to happen. But
no.
But we're leaning towards that. I'm telling you. And here's the reason why. Because there could be that possibility of Drew McIntyre challenging for it the Monday night afterwards. You never know. Or
even then, I still don't want that.
Well, like, yeah, but like, it's that surprise factor that they're going to try to hit us with. That's the reason I feel like it's almost inevitable. It's going to happen that way. So, again, I don't want it to happen as much as the next person don't, but really and truthfully, they don't have any reason to not do it.
He draws. I mean,
like, do you think you really think WWE could give a fuck about the champion we want to see having an extended and lengthy reign? I don't see them caring too much.
As soon as they see them ratings spike, let's put it on Goldberg. No matter what people say on the internet, they don't care.
Facts.
I'm Goldberg.
I don't think it matters if we're putting it on Goldberg. It's the fact that it's on Monday night. We're gonna watch it. That's where they're like. Vince probably rubs his nipples, knowing his 75-year-old nipples, knowing that he can put a pile of dog shit on Monday night, and you're gonna watch because it's Monday night.
That's what he did.
Vince McMahon can show us sit there rubbing his nipples on a Monday night, and know you're gonna watch it because it's Monday night.
Remember, that's what he did with Brock when Brock went over to SmackDown, beat Kofi for the title, and took it right back to Raw.
Yep.
He gets a kick out of knowing that he's pissing everybody off.
Yeah.
I can imagine
it's that absolute power.
I can imagine
the hidden message of life, the 2015 Royal Rumble. That's so true. I'll never forget that. 2015 Royal Rumble. Everybody and their grandma wanted Daniel Bryan to win. Daniel Bryan was eliminated. As Daniel Bryan was eliminated, the next contestant that came out was Goldust. Goldust production, shattered dreams. Guess what Vince did once Daniel Bryan got eliminated? He shattered everybody's dreams.
Yep.
Did not give a fuck. Yes.
Nah.
Vince will piss on everybody, tell you it's rain, even though he got his willy whipped out, swinging it everywhere. He does not care.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt.
He was so mad because nobody liked Reigns after that. Like, because everybody wanted Bryan to win.
Yeah.
So,
They
like,
should have pulled Reigns the year before when Batista won.
Yeah.
and they tried to make do like, you know what? We actually have something there. Let's go ahead and put it on him now. But now that people know that you want to book him to win, it's no longer a surprise factor. We don't care. Like, we don't care. Don't even have him win. Now you're forcing this main event that we don't want. Like, when you leak the main event of your WrestleMania in July of the year before, nobody wants that. Because if you didn't notice, people were big for Reigns until that January.
Yeah.
Until he came in the Royal Rumble. And once he did, the boos never slowed down.
Yep.
It should have turned him.
I do want to piggyback on what you said because, you know, you ask, why is that the ratings for Raw are still higher than AEW, higher than NXT, and higher than SmackDown? So SmackDown, of course, just because of familiarity, is going to have the second highest ratings between all the North American programs. We're not even talking about Impact because their 70,000 ratings that they get is good for them. By the way, I watch Impact every Tuesday. I think it's been the diamond in the rough during the pandemic. So, like, to me, it's the probably. I'm sorry, I watch it on Twitch. They have a Twitch channel, and I'll put it in the group. But yeah, like once I discovered that they had a Twitch channel, once I signed up with my account, I've just been watching Impact on Twitch, and it's been interesting.
Access to watch it. The access TV.
I weirdly have Access TV, so
Yeah.
I don't have cable, so like everything that I watch, I stream. Even Monday Night Raw, streaming on my Roku. Yeah, so like on Impact, just out of respect, Rich Swan's going to be defending the Impact World Championship at No Surrender against Tommy Dreamer, and I'm not looking forward to the match, but I think it's a nice gesture. He's giving him a hero's kind of farewell match, just to say, hey, Tommy, it's my honor to defend the World Championship against you. I kind of want them to get by that so we can eventually get to the Rich Swann and Moose World Championship feud. But when Chris Bay inserted himself into the mix, now I'm like, can we get a triple threat? Can we get these three brothers? Or fuck it, throw Willie Mack in there. Let's get a fatal four-way. Willie Mack, Chris Bay, Moose, and Rich Swann for the Impact World Championship somewhere down the line. I would love that as a fan.
I want agreed.
Belts.
You said what?
I want Moose carrying around both of those belts.
Him carrying around a TNA World Championship that they don't even recognize anymore is the greatest thing. Number one, it's built his win streak up. Like, he's a credible superstar now. And it's fun. Like, I wish WWE would do that. Just imagine, I don't know, imagine Sami Zayn carrying that around the big gold championship, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there's conspiracies against me. I know I'm a world heavyweight championship caliber individual. And he's just carrying around the world championship, beating jobbers and stuff like that because, you know, he wants to prove how good of a champion he is.
Yeah.
It might be leading to that.
Like, so, all right. So, I don't want us to run too far over this because I know that we only have a certain amount of time that we're able to have this. So we got about 10 minutes. The topic that we really want to cut through today is something that Armand touched on last week. It was the Mount Rushmore Plus. He made some slide about The Undertaker and said he's not in my top 4. He's in my top 5, but not in my top 4. And that made me start thinking, what would everybody
top 10, not 5.
You said top 10, not top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that made me start thinking, who would be in everybody's Mount Rushmore Plus of WWE superstars all time? Michael, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it to you first. From +1 to 1, who would your top 5 superstars in the WWE history be?
My favorite, or just ones that I think's had great.
It could be a blend of both. Who is your favorite, or who do you like? You probably would say they're the best based off of that fact that they are your favorite.
Okay. Edge, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Randy Orton, and old Brock Lesnar, not the new one, the one before. I mean, was that?
Said Edge, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Randy Orton, and who else?
Oh, old Brock Lesnar.
Next big thing, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Shooting star.
Pretty solid. You left some high value names off there, but hey, it's your list. I ain't here to argue that.
This is my favorites at the time.
That's fair. Ray, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the same question to you, man. Give me your, well, not even question. Cut it to you now, man. Give me your Mount Rushmore Plus.
All right, I got Austin, The Rock, Flair, Undertaker, and then let's say my fifth. I would probably go Shawn Michaels.
So Michaels is off the Mount Rushmore, but he's like on the ladder next to it,
Like
waiting
that,
for facing it.
yeah.
The Shawn Michaels monument.
Armand,
All right. So my Mount Rushmore is Flair, Rock, Angle, Austin, with a special monument dedicated to Triple H. You're talking about the best heel of the business.
The Reign of Terror.
Yep. Whether it's early DX, whether it's the Authority, whether it's the corporation, he has made you hate him.
Yeah. Whether it's not.
And now the man is the COO, so there's really nothing you can do about it.
Facts.
Over him beating Booker T at Mania.
Exactly.
I'm just so upset
He
that
knew that was he.
I'm so upset Booker T never got his comeuppance after that. Like he had to wait like 6 pissing years before he got a world champion, or not 6 years,
Time.
but he had to wait a good little while before he got world, like 3-4 years before he actually got a world title reign.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
That was like the most blatant use of like backstage lobbying. I guarantee you nobody said Triple H should go over in that match.
He shouldn't have. Everyone knows it. Again, he knew that heat was going to come, though. That's what makes him one of the best heels. JBL is my second favorite heel of all time.
Yeah.
See, younger me could not understand how 2016 to 2020 racist JBL from 2003 actually was. 2004 actually was. Like, Jesus
Boy,
Christ. Oh my
man was
God.
putting hand sanitizer on after shaking hands with Mexican people and like, stuff. If they replayed it today, it would
WWE would have
so
a PR lawsuit out of this world.
Oh yeah.
boy.
No,
When we went to the border and was kicking people across the border.
Yeah, like,
Oh man.
that was what I was talking about. Because I'm like, yo, how the fuck did they get away with this? But again, the world
Because
wasn't
racism
as
was a little more
sensitive.
acceptable.
The world wasn't as sensitive back then. But my God.
No, it wasn't that sense of the world was just that racist.
well, after 56 episodes.
We remember that time frame. We had Vince McMahon say "nigga" on air
To a white dude. To a white dude.
to
No
a white
less.
dude.
He was right there.
In front of a black man. And he just had to eat it.
Who all he could do is say, "Tell me he didn't just say that."
See, I feel like the reason that Vince McMahon can get away with shit like that, because we ain't got enough nails in the back in the locker room anymore. We ain't got enough motherfuckers that will go into his office and flatten him because you cut him on his pay or some shit like that. We ain't got enough of those.
Who's going to even if we did? Who's going to really go back there and flatten him? Not Undertaker, because that's just what you did.
Or nobody.
Mark Henry's just going to take his check and go home with it going like this.
I can tell
The
you
Rock
right.
was already in Hollywood, so he couldn't go back and say, "Vince, what the hell was that?"
I can tell you right now who would say something. Xavier Woods.
Xavier would be like, "Yo,
No.
the fuck is he was his whole podcast going
Yeah.
insane about how fucked up that is."
He's like, I don't need you at all.
Real shit, he don't. Consequence
Yeah,
Free can
people
go back. Consequence Free can go back to fucking Impact and be the highest paid superstar on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And still have his whole legacy.
I wonder how far are we from that actually happening for real?
Oh, it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Mhm.
Like he'd have to do something. He'd have to do something like that. Like
Yeah, like
Man's got his sex tape with Paige leaked on the internet, and she's not with the company anymore. She's had a bad relationship with the company since. This motherfucker, since then, went on to be one of the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. So it's like, he ain't going nowhere. Before we run out of time, I want to give my Mount Rushmore plus as well. Mine's was The Rock. He's the biggest star in the WWE, but it's like, I won't give him his own monument. He doesn't get his space on the mountain. But like, if I had to go with the most entertaining superstars, the most charismatic superstars, it's him by the length of a continent. And then my 4 through 1 is John Cena, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, and I gotta give it Stone Cold. Yeah. Stone Cold had a generation-defining character.
Yeah.
Had it not been for that, wrestling would have been the most uninteresting shit ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much more time that we have, or we really don't have as much time. Got a final thoughts you want to put in?
I was just about to put it on a small book page on placeholder on Stone Cold, because Reigns made a very interesting comment that was clearly a dig at Stone Cold the other day when they were asking him about what the Undertaker said, and he was basically like, "Yo, it's actually harder to be a superstar. You can't. If I was in the Attitude Era and all I had to do was go chug a couple beers and run out to the ring, then I'm good." I was like, "Oh shit, this man is becoming the heel that man is becoming the heel that we've been wanting forever."
So how about this? This is episode 3, part 1. We're gonna go ahead and part 2 this. Gonna take a little break in between. So give me a second here, and we'll go ahead and reconvene here because I want to touch on that. So we'll run like a quick 10 to 15 minute part 2 on this. All right.
All right.
All right, fellas.
Bet.
All right.